And we are back with our very special guest, one of my oldest friends, Kira Forster. You may know her as Taya Valkyrie. She is a pro wrestler, a fitness competitor, and of course, a world famous actor. Kira, thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're one of my oldest friends. We were just talking about we were on a show together many years ago called World of Hurt, and we were the faction of fitness, the
What
FOF,
a
the
name.
evil
What a name.
wrestlers. We bullied everyone else and just talked about how great our abs and our tans were. And now we're a little older and wiser, but we still both have great abs and great tans. So thanks for coming on to chat
Of course.
fitness on the podcast. So, obviously you got a vast background in wrestling, but I want to talk about some of your earlier days. You started as a ballerina, I believe, and of course then went into fitness competition. So let's talk about that. How did you start working out in the gym? What was that experience kind of like for you? Where did that come from?
I think growing up and doing sports in school and stuff, like I kind of was, doing stuff in the gym, but I never was like really told what to do. And it wasn't until after I was a dancer and when I went into fitness competition that I actually got properly introduced to working out and all that goes into it. And like I got into fitness because when I was like in high school, I remember always watching the fitness competitions on TV, like really late at night. And always being like, oh my gosh, it's so cool because it's a combination of performance with athletics and all this kind of things that I liked. And that's kind of, the other reason also is because I wanted to be a wrestler. And some of my favorites are, Trish Stratus, Victoria, Tori Wilson, who all came from fitness backgrounds. So it was just kind of like a mishmash natural progression from dancing into fitness.
Cool. So tell me about like the first time you're going into a gym. Like how did you learn how to exercise? Obviously you've done gymnastics and ballerina and stuff, but training in a gym with weights and stuff is sort of a separate thing. So what was that experience like?
Well, I immediately got a trainer because I knew that was, especially if I was going to, as I started wanting to do competition, like I didn't know even where to start. Like back in the day, it was a lot harder to get information about this kind of stuff if you don't know where to even look for it. So I remember asking a friend who had done a fitness competition before about like how she got into it. And so like I went and met with Nathan Harewood, who's still a very good friend of mine, who still is one of the top coaches for WBFF. And he basically was the first person that I went to who introduced me to proper workouts. I was nervous and stuff, but I don't know. I didn't overthink it. I think that comes because I was like 18 years old and I just didn't know any better, right? You're innocent and don't know what you're walking into. So I didn't really think too much about it. And I kind of just naturally fell in love with it and just, it instantly became part of my life.
So when you started working out in the gym, did you already know that you wanted to do competitions, or did that come after? Okay, cool. So
I
you'd
knew
seen it on.
I wanted to do competitions. And that was like the main reason that I, went to the World Health Club in downtown Calgary and met with Nathan.
Incredible.
And then he kind of, we set up a schedule and just kind of went from there. I don't know. When I think about it now, I'm like, yeah, I guess it's a little weird that I just all of a sudden wanted to do that, but it was never always like just like a decision that came out of nowhere. We have all these kind of seeds that are planted throughout our life that kind of lead us to certain things. And I think that that's what happened with fitness and with wrestling.
First of all, I love that you mentioned World Health Club because that's where I started as well. I was a trainer at World Health Club. So shout out to World Health Club.
It's a Canadian spot.
I'm actually not sure. I don't think World Health Club exists anymore. They actually underwent a rebranding a few years ago. But anyway, that's a side note. I also love that you mentioned that you watched these fitness competitions late at night because no network is putting those on in prime time. That's like stuff you got to watch.
I remember being in high school and I had this really small TV, like a really small TV in my room. And that I literally had to walk up to and like push the buttons on because I had like oh my God, I'm making myself sound like
you're aging yourself here. Yeah, stop.
But whatever. And I remember just watching, fitness competitions. I remember specifically Sylvia Tremblay, who's like a French Canadian fitness icon in my opinion. And then when I ended up winning years later, my fitness category for nationals, and she was the short competitor that had won, and that was like a total like, oh my God, I watched you. I didn't say that to her. Maybe I did actually. I'm awkward. So I probably was like,
That's
I've been
great.
watching since I was 15,
That's so cool. So when was that when you were competing? So you placed first at CBBF, is that right? Canadian
Yeah.
Championships 2010?
Yes.
Yep.
Which was held in Vancouver. And I had, family and friends there and stuff. And I specifically remember I was wearing like a leopard velvet print bikini
Incredible.
with bedazzles all over it, of course.
Incredible.
And I think I did a breaking out of jail routine. Like
right. So
orange little outfit.
let's talk about this, because I guess, obviously there's different types of fitness competition. So I did more of a straight bodybuilding competition, just posing and stuff like that. But a lot of the women, there's sort of a different category, which is, I guess, is this figure, or this is fitness, or how does that define?
I did fitness, and I believe, like, I'm not super up to date on all fitness competition stuff anymore, but I believe now there's like a lot more categories.
Okay.
Physique and some other stuff. So fitness back in the day was posing, doing quarter turns, the same way that figure people do, figure competitors. And then you had to do like a 1.5-minute routine where you basically are doing like, it looks like cheerleading, honestly.
Right,
Lots of high kicks and like back handsprings, back walkovers, and like all variations on push-ups and feats of strength. So that was like my favorite part of the whole thing. Obviously, coming from dance and being a natural ham and performer, that was like the best.
And these were like in costumes with sort of a theme and everything. Oh man, that's great.
Like, I think I did like a Spanish Shakira song once with like ruffly red skirt. I did like a Mambo No. 5 type of vibes thing, and I did like the jail one. I think that song I used was like a Beyonce song. Like, I don't even know. I did a Transformer one once too.
is there video of this that we can release with this podcast?
Oh my gosh. I think that like because I think the last competition I did was when I did the Transformers routine, and I think that's online somewhere on YouTube, lost in the world of YouTube. It's really not that good.
all of this reminds me of Vince McMahon's short-lived World Bodybuilding Federation from the early 90s. If you ever seen clips of that, he had he signed all the big bodybuilders at the time, and they all came out in these gimmicks and costumes, and he ran pay-per-views. So it sounds like that.
Like, I think you should bring it back. Don't you?
I think we need to get Vince on the phone, and and you can star in the new WBF. So obviously all of this stuff, this sort of performance aspect to this fitness competition sort of led, right into wrestling, it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to be a wrestler, didn't know how to get into wrestling, had no contact with it whatsoever. Like, I don't come from a wrestling family. I had no friends. All my friends thought I was nuts when I would be like, I want to be like Trish or whatever. And then it was like the fitness stuff, like ultimately just led, because I went into fitness because I wanted to be like them. So I figured in my brain, my little brain, that was what was going to happen. Like, I was going to get discovered just like they did. Right. And honestly, it actually kind of worked out that way, because my first tryout with WWE was right after I competed at the Arnold Amateur. And I had no real wrestling background or anything, but they contacted me and invited me to a tryout. So it kind of did work.
Right. So
were you after that tryout that I found Lance, because I didn't get the job, obviously, and they were like, "Go find Lance Store."
So were you kind of recruited at the Arnold, or how did that first tryout with WWE happen?
Well, it started because like right before the CBBF Nationals where I won, I was bartending, and Shad Gaspard and some people were in town for Monday Night Raw, and I came into my bar and I was serving them all night, and we had wrestling theme night that night. And I was dressed like a female John Cena. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. And Chad was like, "You look like you could be a wrestler." And I was like, "Oh my God, I totally want to be a wrestler." And I was jacked, right? Like, cause it was like the week before Nationals. So I was like, just so jacked.
Good timing.
Yeah, I want to be a wrestler. And he's like, "I'm going to, I want your information, and I'm going to pass it on to someone because you look like you could be a wrestler." And I was like, okay. And then the next day I told him that I worked at a gym, because I was working at Gold's Gym in Eau Claire at the time too. And him and JTG and some guys came and worked at my gym. Like, I got them into the gym for free. And
wrestlers love free stuff, by the way.
Free stuff, free drinks and free gym, done. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I gave him like an envelope, I remember, and it was really bad quality, like 8x10s of me.
Yeah.
Of like fitness modeling pictures, and maybe like, I don't even know. Like, now I think about it, I'm like, what the hell is it thinking? And then like a few weeks later, WWE called me, emailed me and called me, and I actually
Wow.
on the phone with them. But they didn't invite, so there was contact at that point with them, but it was Chad. Chad's the one that like kind of did it. You know what I mean? Like put me in contact with them first. And then it was like after I did the Arnold, which was like 6 months later, they contacted me again. So I don't know if it was fitness. I mean, I always have my guardian angel, Shad Gaspard, who literally was the one to open that door.
Yeah.
But I like to think that, they saw me probably at the Arnold as well. Cause like, lots of WWE people are fans of fitness and bodybuilding. And then I got that tryout.
Sure. Yeah. And I've heard of them doing scouting at the Arnold and stuff before. So maybe it was a combination
of my like Mamba
of those
routine.
things. Of course, they love the Mamba routine. And actually getting into the gym for free reminds me of a funny story. You and I and your husband, John Hennigan, went to Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, the mecca of bodybuilding. And yeah. John and I told the front desk that our good friend, The Rock, was meeting us there, DJ, as we called him.
DJ.
And they let us in for free. And, we worked out for free for a couple hours. And then when we left the gym, we said, man, DJ hasn't shown up yet? No, he's not here yet, man. Okay, well, yeah, we'll meet him for lunch, I guess. So we name dropped The Rock to get in for free at the mecca of bodybuilding. Of course,
I'm always like so embarrassed about stuff like that. John just like hams it up. And, like,
yeah.
Like, no, don't. Oh my God. Like, can we just pay? Like, I will pay for everybody. Like, I'll pay the $20. I don't care. He's just like, nope. Let's see if we can get free water out of this too. I don't know.
That was incredible. So now, obviously, you've been on TV for many years continuously, whether in the US or Mexico or, all over the world, whatever wrestling company that you're working with. And of course, doing some acting gigs and stuff as well. So looking a certain way is really a huge part of your job. And of course, you're in spandex on television with bright lights and 4K cameras and stuff. So what does it feel like in terms of the pressure, whether externally or just internally on your own? What does that pressure feel like to look a certain way all the time? You don't really get off days or off seasons or anything like that, like other performers. You don't have a stunt double. You don't have CGI and visual effects to make you look better. Nope. You got to look that way all the time. So what's that grind like for you?
It's very stressful. It's very, very stressful. And I feel like this year is like a perfect example of that, just because of the lockdowns and quarantine and like the stress mentally on your mental health and of being, in your home and having all these things in our careers kind of be affected was like a big stressor. And it was harder because, quarantine 10 or 15 or 20 is a real thing. And when you're stressed out emotionally, and I'm a very emotional person, so it can be a little bit discouraging. And then obviously being on television, everyone scrutinizes you and you have to like feel good, but also look good and be able to do your job. And sometimes what people like visually isn't what's best for you. And I think that it's hard for women, especially, to find that balance of like what's healthy and makes me look really cute and you feel good about yourself and what is not, And I've gone through like all sorts of ranges of that throughout my career and struggled with like depression and stuff when I lived in Mexico and like having almost like an eating disorder basically, because I just was so anxious that I wouldn't eat. And so when people look back on that, they're like, well, how come you don't look like this anymore? And I'm like, that was horrible. Like, I don't want to look like that. And also I would get injured all the time when I'm really skinny. So for me, it's just like, it's always a juggling like kind of act to figure out what that balance is. And, wearing spandex once a week or multiple times a week, like we do, it can be rough for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I know with myself and a lot of other fitness competitors I've talked to, it's like, there's a real mental thing when you see these pictures of yourself on stage and you look incredible, but really that's not realistic to maintain that exact look year round. So it's hard mentally when you see yourself in the mirror and you probably look incredible, but you think in your mind, like, well, I don't look like I looked on stage. So you're almost never happy. You're chasing that kind of thing. I know that mentally can be really hard.
Totally. And it's like you look and I mean, the internet is horrible because everyone feels like they can have an opinion about you, even though you're not asking for it. Like there's just like people will always have no filter on because they're hiding behind a computer and say really horrible things. And it can really mess with your head. And when you start thinking about it, then you're like, oh my God, do I look fat? Am I too skinny? Is this wrong? Is this wrong? And it's constantly, you're basically just like beating yourself up over these things. So it's really taken me like until like recently over the last like few years to feel like comfortable in like what I look like or find that happy medium. But I mean, I constantly struggle with it as well because it's
Sure.
just never ending, obviously. So, you know.
Yeah, that was kind of my next question is how do you block out like the mean tweets and the people that are obviously just saying things to just sort of try to get at you?
Yeah, get a rise out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And seriously, like it's taken me till this year to kind of like really reel it in and be like, okay, you don't have to, because I would get very like, defensive or someone said something about my friend or myself or my husband or something. And it's like, I would always get in trouble with, well, not really trouble, but Tommy Dreamer would always give me shit when I would go to TV because he's like, stop fighting with me.
Yeah.
And so like Tommy really helped me with that. And also Rosemary, she's like, Kira, like, I'm like, okay, fine. I won't say anything. So you kind of just have, it's like a I mean, your phone is in your hand 24 hours a day. Let's be real. Right.
Yep.
And so you have access and people know that you're online and it's part of our job to be present on social media and to interact, I believe, and post things daily and stuff. So you're going to naturally just see it. And I just think that it comes with time. And there's just a time when I was like, you know what? I just don't care anymore.
Sure.
And I can't go searching for it or like, you know what I mean? And then you're making yourself nuts.
Right.
So I don't know what it is that like made me just finally realize like, why am I doing this to myself? You're basically torturing yourself. I don't know what it was or what triggered me to finally say enough is enough, but I'm very happy that I'm in a place now where I just like don't care. Like I'm like, totally. I have a good life. I'm doing a good job. I work really hard and I'm fully aware of like, that. And I deserve like the success that I have. I deserve what I like the life that I live. And I don't really care what Joe from Wisconsin thinks.
Of course. Yeah. And what's Joe from Wisconsin done in his life? He's sitting in his basement tweeting mean things at people. So he's not.
Yeah. That's why you have to realize like these people that are trolls and these people that like to make people feel bad are probably feeling really bad themselves.
Right.
And they're taking it out on me or anybody else on the internet. It's like, why do you care? You don't even know that person. That person doesn't even know you. That person doesn't know anything about your life. They think what they think because they just see a person on television. And then like, obviously, this in wrestling, sometimes it's hard for people to realize that we're actors and be able to disconnect Taya from Kira.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that person doesn't really know who I am. So why should I care what they think of me?
For sure. So going back to your training for a minute, obviously when you're training for a fitness competition, that's going to be a lot different than training when you're wrestling, because when you're wrestling, you're taking bumps, you're getting hurt. You can't be that incredibly low body fat percentage that you would be in fitness comp, or you're going to get hurt. And as you said, you were getting injured more when you were really, really skinny. So how does your training differ nowadays versus back when you were doing competitions?
Right now, my main focus is just like really making sure that my cardiovascular health has been and my cardiovascular ability is staying, where it has to be. Because honestly, normally I would be traveling and doing like 4 shows a week, and that's just not the case anymore because of the world that we live in, obviously. So I do a lot of like HIIT workouts. I do a lot of cardio mixed in with things. I superset everything. It's just like I'm training for performance more than I'm training for, hey, my left calf needs to be bigger. You know what I mean? There's like a difference between both of them. And, I tried different, they have these F45 gyms now down here in Florida where like you go and do kind of like these circuit, like high intensity cardio classes, which I never thought I was a class person, but it actually was really fun. So I'm always just trying to find different ways of to improve my performance more than it is about the way I look.
It's cool too that you say that, because you've been working out obviously for so long, for really your whole life, and saying like, oh, I didn't think I was a class person. And it's like, even now you're still discovering things that maybe you're just getting into, or something that's new.
And I was petrified because Chelsea Green invited me, and she's like, we're going to go do this class at 9 a.m. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Is 9 a.m. really early for you?
It's early for me, especially when I'm traveling like East Coast to West Coast constantly. So I'm like, my sleep's all messed up, because you would be surprised how much 3 hours of difference makes on you.
Yeah.
And so I went to this class, and it's like, and it's true what you said. Like I've been doing this for so long and working out for so long, and I still was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my
Yeah,
god, like looking
for
around like
sure.
this, and I'm just, and the guy's like, really like jazzed up, and I'm just like, what's happening here? And Chelsea's like,
Yeah, I feel like that fits her personality really well
yeah.
too.
And for me, I'm like, I like to be like laser focused on my workout and not be distracted by things or people. And it was just like, it was a lot, for me.
Yeah, yeah,
But it was actually really fun. And then it's done. You have this 45 minutes, an hour of intense, like I was dying. I'm so
yeah.
sore today. And this was like 2 days ago.
Wow.
But it was really fun. And I'm glad that I kind of figured out this new thing that I can do, because I'm always looking, like I said, for things that will improve my performance or keep me kind of on my toes, because we get in a routine, right? We have these same kind of workouts that we like to do.
Yeah.
We in our comfort zone and we get so good at it, but we're so good at like this one type of thing. So it's really fun to kind of just like explore these other training, styles, I guess.
Sure. I think that's one of my favorite things about fitness is that you're always going to keep learning. There's always new stuff. It's an industry where it's always evolving. And there's also, one of my least favorite things about trainers and fitness people sometimes is that they do lock too much into just one style of training. They don't open their mind up to other stuff. So I'm the same way. I'm not really a class kind of guy, but I've gone to some classes and really enjoyed them. And I think just closing your mind off to that, I think, is a bad idea. There's always something you can get from different styles of training.
Well, if you ever come to Orlando, me and Chelsea will take you to the
Absolutely. That would be an incredibly odd reunion, but a really fun one.
Super fun. And it's Robbie E and his wife's gym. So
amazing. So now Robbie E has an incredible physique, but speaking of incredible physiques, your husband has an incredible physique. I need to get him on the podcast at some point as well. But what's it like seeing John Morrison's abs every morning?
It's actually really annoying.
Okay, great.
No, I mean, it's great, obviously, but it's annoying. He just trains so hard and people don't realize that. Like I make jokes about how like I am a very clean eater. Like I'm very aware of what I eat and stuff like that. Whereas John is not. And people always say, like, what does he eat? And I'm like, dude, he eats so much ice cream and crap, like Flex Bites for days and like protein cookies.
Amazing.
And so it's gonna be frustrating because, but with that said, like I have now started doing 2-a-days. Like I'll do like, for example, like weights and cardio in the morning. Then I'll do more cardio at night and then like abs or something.
Yeah.
But he's doing like 2 workouts and he goes to gymnastics and then he does this and then he's like doing his flow-mo and his parkour and so it's I think never ending. So I guess he's allowed to have the ice cream.
Sure. I guess he needs the extra calories. I was going to say, don't tell my training clients that John Morrison's eating ice cream every day. Okay. But he's going to expend a lot more calories than most people that are working at a desk or
John Morrison. Don't eat ice cream, but also you have to work out. You have to work
right.
out a lot.
You got to work out. Sweet. Okay. We're going to go through, we got a little speed round to finish. Some of these are fitness questions and some of these are nerd related questions. Okay.
Okay.
So favorite Marvel superhero? It has to be Marvel. You can't get it wrong. It has to be Marvel.
God.
I know.
I'm a very bad like I don't know a lot about.
Don't worry. These aren't hard, but this one,
Okay, I'm scared that I'm going to say one and you're going to be like the DC person.
I might. Yeah, like a 50-50 chance here.
Well, I'm just going to go with like a Wonder Woman.
Okay, so
that's DC, right?
Wonder Woman's definitely DC, but you know what? We'll accept that answer. Okay.
What about Catwoman?
Catwoman is also DC.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
I guess
she's a Batman villain. I guess you're more of a DC girl, I guess. Okay, favorite hamstring exercise.
Hamstring exercise.
Mm-hmm. Very specific.
I love doing deadlifts.
That's okay. Great. Dream wrestling opponent.
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks. That'd be an awesome match.
I'm going to say current. We'll say currently, I would definitely want to wrestle Sasha Banks.
Okay.
In the past, I wish I could have wrestled Lita.
Okay. Is Lita, is she 100% retired or didn't she do some?
No, I feel like I mean, I've seen her at a bunch, like some conventions and things like that. So she's around.
Maybe that could happen.
Yeah.
Cool. Favorite video game.
Brady, I don't play video games.
You never played a video game, not in your whole life?
Well, like, okay, so
What
I'm
about
gonna
like
go.
Super Mario or something?
Well, I like a good big buck hunter. How's
Okay, that's like on the machine. The
the big machine?
that's incredible. I was
Like
thinking
we
like
have it like Boston pizza. You know what I mean?
that's incredible. Boston pizza. Um, Actually, Boston pizza better not be your answer to this next question, which is favorite cheat meal.
Oh, I'm a hamburger person.
Okay.
I also just, if I'm gonna do something that's really good, yucky, like I love a good Wendy's junior bacon cheeseburger.
Great. On the road,
Yeah.
Wendy's bacon cheeseburger. Okay. Who's the most jacked superhero? I mean, Wonder Woman could have been a good answer for this one.
But yeah, she's jacked, and I'm gonna go with like a. I feel like everybody that I'm saying is the wrong universe. I mean, Hulk.
Oh no, I didn't say any specific universe.
Oh,
Just,
okay.
yeah, the Hulk. The Hulk's a great answer. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite pre-workout?
I actually am not really a huge pre-workout person because it makes my stomach upset. But like,
Okay.
I really like drinking those Celsius drinks right when I'm starting my workout.
Oh, okay. I don't know those. Is that more of like an
Not the big ones. They're like smaller cans. They're good.
is that more of like a BCAA or something or intro workout or?
No, it's got like caffeine in it and
Okay.
BCAAs and it's supposed to be thermogenic a little bit, but I don't really know if that's true.
It's all just placebo effect.
Yes.
Okay. What do you listen to when you do cardio?
I am a huge watcher of television while I do cardio. So I'm just normally watching true crime or some, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Great. Okay. With the Mormons or you're watching my show Paper Champions, available on Amazon Prime. Thank you.
Yes.
Who's your favorite wrestler that isn't you or your husband or me?
I mean, you had to put yourself in that, right? I am a huge mark for The Rock.
Great choice. Best ever. Okay, last question. If you had to choose Presley or Bowie.
You can't make me pick.
Hey, I got two dogs, so I know I can't pick either.
Well, okay, I will say that I am going to go with the OG that is Presley because Presley is a mama's boy and Bowie's a daddy's boy.
That's fair.
Bowie loves John and always wants to be with John, whereas Presley is my shadow. So I'm going to pick Presley.
That's totally fair. I'm in the same situation. Anakin is always on my lap, and Chewie is somewhere with Natasha, so it's the same deal. Cool. Okay, so let's get a few plugs in. Where can we follow you on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Taya Valkyrie, as well as make sure you are following my clothing brand, which is Loca by Taya Valkyrie at Loca by Taya Valkyrie. You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Taya Valkyrie, and check out my website, TayaValkyrie.com.
She's got it all. Okay, awesome. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Miss you.